Donna is going to lead us with some questions for our panel, and we're going to learn from them how they have done such a great job of building customers that continue to come back again and again and again. So Donna, well done, girl. So proud of you. Yay!
Thank you, Julia. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So the first question, and if you're taking notes, this would be a good time because we've got some good questions that you can get some ideas from. The first question is, describe your customer tracking system. Corey, would you like to address that one?
Sure. So for me, two big things helped me track my customers. One was that it was the first thing that I hired help for. And so it was the first thing that I delegated out to somebody else, was inputting all the customer information and their orders into the computer, because it wasn't something that I could keep up with and run the other parts of my business well that I wanted to run well. I also stopped telling myself the lie that I would remember it and write it down later, because I would never. And for a long time, that was something like I would get an order and I'd be out or not near a sales ticket, and I would just think, oh, I'll write it down later. Ha 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 ha. No, I won't. So I started keeping sales tickets everywhere so that I could always write it down on a sales ticket. It wasn't on some random piece of paper where I thought, oh, I'll be able to find that. No, you won't. Don't lie to yourself. And so, and really having a specific place in my office where I put them. I put notes at the top of each of them when they've paid, when I've delivered it, when it's in the computer. My assistant puts a check with a circle around it so that we know that it's already in there. I mean, like, all of my advice comes from pain. That's all.
That's great. Anybody else? Dana, you would want to talk about your system?
Yes, I have a couple of systems. One of them is, I love paper receipts. I know some people love to use my Customers Plus app, but I still use the old paper receipt. And so what I'll do is I'll go back 3 months and I'll just pull out that pile of receipts and I'll just contact each person that's on there. And that way, just letting them know that I'm still part of their life. The other thing that I do is at the beginning of every month, I go into Mary Kay In Touch, my business, my customers, and then I do a filter for birthdays of that month. And I send a text to each person letting them know that anything they order in the month of their birthday, they get a 20% discount on all orders. And then I'm able to schedule a birthday message. So at that same time, I also schedule happy birthday, I hope your day is fabulous. And I send them a Bitmoji. So, once a year. And then of course, PCP, I print off my PCP list of people who have gotten the lookbook, and I contact each and every one of them as well.
Okay. So have you colored your hair red, Dana? I love it.
Is it? No, this is my natural color.
I think it's the light or something. I'm like, oh my gosh, did Dana go red? Okay, that's awesome. Okay, back to our thing. Question number 2 is, what do you do that is keeping your customers loyal to you, keeping them coming back to you? What do you do? Leanne Willis, do you have an answer for that?
Yeah, for sure. So I guess the biggest advice that I'd have is just to be you with your customers. I take my kids with me sometimes when I deliver stuff. So my children are sometimes in their homes or they come into my home. So they really get to start feeling like family. And so they've seen me. I know not everybody likes this, but most of my customers have seen me at my best and at my worst. And so like I get to just be a real person with them and they start to feel like family. And then I also try to do something special, especially for my local ones. I did a special bonfire night at my house last weekend. and we did a bonfire and I cooked chili for him and I had all of my Christmas stuff set out, like an open house, but it was just this, my core customer group that got invited, and they knew they were VIP and they were special, and they all came, and we were outside and there was a bonfire and it was just fun and together. So yeah, you can be professional and personal at the same time. It doesn't need to be perfect. People want a relationship with a person, not somebody that seems unattainable or untouchable. So
I love that. I'm writing really fast. I had no idea I was even in this group. So I'm writing down all your ideas. How about Sydney?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like Leanne, like, yes, yes, yes. I feel like the biggest difference that we make in Mary Kay, or that sets us apart from other options, is we care about our people. And when you treat your customers like they're humans, and not just like, oh yeah, you're here to buy stuff from me. Like, no one likes feeling that way. But when you make someone feel like they're a human, like you care about them as a human, they want to come back to you because they know, oh, she cares about me. She values that I have chosen to invest in a product that she's selling, but also she's paying attention to my children. She knows what my husband does. She asks about my cat. Like, when you pay attention to those things, like, that is why someone wants to come back, because you've built a real relationship. Someone feels like family and they want to come back to you because they want to keep feeling that feeling. Another thing that I do that I feel like has made a significant difference with my customers is I literally write a note to them every time they make a connection to me. So if they buy a product, they're getting a note, a handwritten note in their package. Thank you so much. I so appreciate your loyalty. I hope that you are having a great summer. I pray that you are doing well in this pandemic. I hope that the dance recital went well last month, whatever it is, but I write a note. Or if someone's getting a pampering package from me, we're doing things virtually right now. I do choose to send my people who are holding appointments with me products in the mail, samples in the mail. I write a handwritten note in every single one of those. People who I literally have not met yet are getting a handwritten note from me. I can't wait to meet you. Congratulations, you are getting ready to get married. I'm so looking forward to our time together. Like, you are taking the time. You do, and time is so precious. People know that time is precious, and they can tell that you have chosen to take extra time that you didn't necessarily have to take. Yes, you're just creating attachments to these people where they attach themselves to you, you attach yourself to them, and they keep coming back because every time they come back, you are creating stronger attachment until you've built a sustainable business and you're in a place where someone's like, I'm on vacation and can you ship something to me in Florida? And you're like, oh yeah, I can totally take care of you, because she knows you've taken care of her in the past and she can trust you. And that attachment, knowing that she's on vacation, knowing about these things happening in her life, is so significant. And then one other thing that I'll say that I do that I feel like, again, has helped just continue to build relationships. So Dana, in the last question, talked about every 3 months she reaches out to her customers. I have another system where I connect with my customers every 6 months. Okay. So sometimes people are using their product right away and they're doing it really great and they're super consistent, and some people are not. And that 6-month time period is when the people who are not using their stuff consistently start running out, but they're maybe not necessarily getting a message in their email from my Customers Plus that's automatically doing that. And so at 6 months, I check in with my people. And again, it's hey, tell me about your life. Maybe it's been a minute since we chatted. What's going on? This is what I remember from the last time we connected. Also, tell me how we doing on product. Because at this point, you're probably running out, and you just make things light and you make things honest and you're like, hey, I'm checking in on how you're doing as a human, but also like, do you need anything? Because it's been a hot minute and I just want to make sure you're taken care of. So yeah, so those are just a couple things. And I thought of one other that I hadn't written down, and it's really simple. When someone comes to my brain, I send them a message. Like, to this afternoon, I had a woman who has been a customer for a while. I've spent time with her probably 2 years ago. She really hasn't ordered recently, but you came to my mind, and literally I sent her a text. Hey, you came to my mind today. Just wanted you to know, saying hi, tell me how you're doing. Is there anything I can pray over for you? I have a friend who also says like, hey, how'd you come to my mind? Are you in need of pampering, product, or prayer? Pampering, product, prayer. I forget. Someone at a Fall Advance several years ago said that. I'm like, oh, that's so good. Pampering, product, prayer. But just checking in like, hey, you came to my heart. Is there any reason why? Typically, those people respond to me and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you texted. This is the chaos that's happening in my life. Yes, can you please pray over this? Like, I have a specific prayer request that I would love for you to be praying over. And again, you're building that attachment. She trusts you enough to share a prayer request for you. Like, yes, she wants to come back to you, and she's gonna come back to you. So yeah, so those are the things that I do.
Okay, so the last question that I have, and everybody can just chime in with a tip that you have that you can share with everyone about where you get your customers. How have you built your customer base? Just give us some ideas about where and how we can build our customer base. So, Corey, you want to start, and then we'll just go down, and then I'll close this.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is something that I feel like my time in Mary Kay has helped with. One, I would say longevity is huge, because the longer you stick with it, the more people are like, they attach your name to when they need something, or when they hear that someone needs something, you're the first person that comes to mind. And so that makes a huge difference. And then secondly, I know that there have been times in my business where I have felt like, I'm out of names. What do I do? But when I look back at those times now, that I didn't think that I had anyone to talk to, it was mostly my spirit inside me. And I needed to check myself, because I am meeting new people all the time. And something that Mary Kay has taught me is like, when I'm going into new situations and meeting people just out in everyday life, I try to go about it with the attitude of, how can I serve them today? Like, how can I help them have a better day? How can I make them feel important? And when I do that, I make connections that are personal connections and business connections, just because I'm going into it with that spirit. Whereas I think before, oftentimes I would have gone into it with like almost a fearful spirit and worried more about what other people were thinking about me. And now I try to go into it with like, I'm more worried about them, whoever it is that I'm meeting, even if I don't know them yet. Like, I wonder how they're feeling about this scenario that we're about to be in, or whatever. And so I can go into it with like a more open and giving heart, and people feel that. And so I get to meet people just in life all the time from that, like in the grocery store, whatever, all those places. And then the last thing, I know a couple people have talked about PCP, that it's not necessarily building a customer base, but yes, it is in some ways, because I will put people, even if they didn't buy anything, I'll put them on my PCP for the first while anyway. And I don't know if anybody else has ever been there. I told you most of my advice is from pain, right? But sending people putting them on the preferred customer program and sending them lookbook, and then actually following up with them are two very different things. And when I got the guts to actually follow up with them and began doing that consistently, obviously, sales went up. Woo, imagine.
Okay, good. Who wants to go next?
I can go.
Okay, thanks, Lynn.
Yeah, just one tip that I had written down was a lot of my customer orders went up when I showed up to my own customer Facebook group. Like when you have your own group and just are utilizing social media, you have to remember, especially when you're first getting started, people don't love Mary Kay yet. they love you. And so if all you're posting in your groups is pictures of product or pictures, I mean, they might be really pretty pictures, but the people that are in there are really not always in there because they love Mary Kay. They're in there because they love you and they want to see your face. And so I know it might be a little intimidating because we're perfectionists, but grab some product, turn your video camera on, and let it be your face that's using the products. If they see you giving your response the first time you use something, or maybe it's something that you love and you get to talk about it, that's what people buy into. That's what they get excited about. But if you are nowhere to be found in any of your social media outlets or just any of those tools that you're utilizing, then you're missing it. You're missing on so much, because just like we got into Mary Kay and have found this a beautiful community and just friendships, our customers are longing for that as well. And so when you let yourself be seen and heard and known in those spaces, then all of a sudden you're building a family, and those family members stay loyal to you, and they give you grace when you make mistakes, and they laugh at you when you're doing a live from your bathroom and your kid comes in and pees in the toilet. Like, that happens almost every time. And they love it. They love it. It's okay. It doesn't need to be this perfect quality, because I mean, you're going to hear me say that a lot, but just be you and let that be what shines through. And there's so much more. You have so much to offer that you're holding back from people when you don't show up in those spaces. So,
Okay. Sydney,
So-
do you have anything a tip you can give us?
Yeah, I'll give something super simple that hasn't been covered yet. Again, because I feel strongly about this, building relationships. When you build relationships, real relationships with your customers, they want to pass you on to their people. And that is where I get tons of new customers, because my customers love me, just like what Leanne just said. And they also love Mary Kay, and they trust me enough to pass me on to the next person. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten a text from a customer to say, hey, this is my girlfriend's phone number. I was just telling her about my skincare because my face looks awesome right now. Can you connect with her? And I'm like, yeah, I'll absolutely connect with her. But the reason that she's passing me on is because I have taken good care of her, and she trusts me to pass me on to her people. Same thing in an appointment. When you have the time and you take the time to play a referral game, when you have created a space where people feel comfortable with you, they see you as a real person, they are building that trust. Literally, you can build that trust in the first 30 minutes to an hour that you are with someone, and they will say, oh my gosh, this chick is really fun. Oh my gosh, I really like this. And I think that Susie in my phone, and Christina in my phone, and Catherine in my phone, and whoever in my phone would really enjoy this too. When you are you and you choose to invest in the humans that you are at the table with, on the Zoom with, in the Facebook with, whatever, they will want to pass you on. And so that is where I gain a ton of new people, is by serving my people well enough that they choose to pass me on to someone else.
Okay, thanks. Dana, did you want to close this out? What did you have?
Yeah, just quick. One thing that I'm doing in my my Facebook group with my customers is I have a drawing that I'm giving them when they invite friends to the Facebook group, and their friends participate. They get like free product, or they get a gift certificate from me. And then their friends, maybe not the first time they watch it. And I love what Leanne said, you just be yourself. It may not be perfect the first time. In fact, it probably won't, but the more you do it, the more comfortable you become. But that's where even just building a relationship through Facebook, you can do that by going live and commenting when people would comment live, just commenting on their name. And then they become customers. They fall in love with the product because they hear you talking about it.
That's great. I really, when Julia asked me if I would facilitate this group, and they sent me the names of the top 4 and I wasn't included, I really didn't think I was in this group, but as I've been thinking, so I didn't think of anything to share. But as y'all have been talking, I've been listening to everything you said has been beautiful and perfect and right on point. I thought of one thing that I could tell everybody. If you're wanting to build your customer base and get more sales for the holidays, contact all your existing customers and ask them for a wish list, and ask them who's their secret Santa, who's their mom, their who buys for them, their sister, whatever, and say, I'm working on my Christmas wish list, and what would you like to wish for, and who would you like me to call to tell them that this is what you want for Christmas. And the other thing about follow up is, if you don't follow up with your customers and they purchase something that they don't like, they will not call you. Most of them will not call you because they do love you. Like Leanna said, they love you. And so they don't want to say, oh, I really didn't like this color, or it didn't really work for me, because they don't want to hurt your feelings. But they don't realize that we trade everything out. There's a guarantee with Mary Kay. And so we want to make it right. So if you follow up with them, you say, oh, no, it's fine. And building that confidence that we will follow through and we will make it right. I get a lot of people who just say, that lipstick color just really didn't work for me. I thought it was going to be good. It didn't. And I switch it out immediately, and we find something that they do love. And then they'll come back and buy more and more from me. So that's only two things I really thought of that you guys didn't say. And I would want to buy from you, Leanna, just so I could find out what's up with the cow on the couch. I'm sorry for coming over. I wasn't tracking time. I'm sorry, Julia.
I love it. Donna, thank you so much